Tonight was more the cup of tea you'd expect for a Washington Wizards ethical tank loss. Down by 20 at one point, the Wizards came back to tie it, end up losing in the fourth quarter by 15 points. But a questionable decision. Will Riley, who had a career high tonight, was pulled with 9 minutes to go. Live here on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Locked On to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action all season long, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season. Alongside the DC Sports content creating Savannah Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable.io. AB 131-116. Wizards battled back down by 20 at one point to tie this game today, and then the fourth quarter things kind of fell apart there, but this is more what you'd expect for an ethical tank loss, and I was kind of ready to be in the same position as we were a few nights ago. The first half was disgustingly bad for this Wizards team, but I'll give them a lot of credit. A good third quarter for the Wizards, and it ends up being kind of a good tanking loss for this Wizards team.
Yeah, that first half, Ben, just getting killed in the paint. I mean, the Hawks were getting everything they wanted, and it's kind of funny because this Hawks team, they lost this Wizards team not too long ago without Keyshawn George, and they were probably telling themselves, hey, we cannot lose to this team again. This team that's clearly out there trying not to win that many games. And Jalen Johnson tonight, 30 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, who just came off a triple-double against that heartbreaking loss against the Nuggets for the Hawks. He was out there hooping. And for the Wiz, Ben, it was nice to see Will Riley. We'll talk about him playing and him not getting enough playing time. JC, our guy. But tonight, again, it was just tale of two halves. That first half, you're getting beat in the paint. And the second half, the three-pointers. I mean, that one dude, number 27 on Atlanta, I can't even pronounce Krzijic. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. He was lighting it up from three-point land. Luke Kennard. I mean, Wizards fans know a lot about him when he was with his days with the Clippers. But again, like you mentioned, the team kept it close in that third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, Atlanta pulled away, and that's just the common theme of this Wizards season so far.
That first half was just so gross, and it put the Wizards in a position where they had to come back by as much as they did. They were down by 15 at halftime. And to be honest, in a game where you shoot almost 45% from three, typically you don't lose those games. But in this case, if you're Washington, you allowed 70 points in the paint tonight. 50 of those came in the first half, 26 points off turnovers for Atlanta, 15 offensive rebounds for the Hawks, and that got better in the second half of this game, but Washington put themselves in a really big hole early. Also on today's show, the decision for Will Riley to be taken out of the game with 9 minutes to go in favor of C.J. McCollum. I've got some words on C.J. McCollum and his playing time that I'll get to as we roll throughout the program here. And then, as always, we'll give you an opportunity to let it all out in the comments section. So the first quarter, things got away from Washington, a 9-0 Atlanta run, 6 offensive rebounds already with 4:50 to go in the first quarter, 9 second chance points for the Hawks, and that theme kind of just continued throughout the second quarter. By halftime, 11 offensive rebounds for Atlanta, just 2 for Washington, 20 second chance points for the Hawks, 48 points in the paint, so not 50 as I said a moment ago, and then 12 Washington turnovers was really the biggest issue that they saw. And now Washington did finish with 20 in the game, which is really bad. That's really bad, and likely why they gave away so many possessions and allowed Atlanta to have 98 field goal attempts in the game. But it was better in the second half. Also a much better night for Bub Carrington, who got the start the first time in forever. I'd have to go back and look what the exact date was where Bub got the start. And he looked a bit better, 4 of 6 from the field, just 1 turnover compared to 8 assists. He was a minus 22 though, but I'll give credit to Bub Carrington for stepping it up and looking a little bit more of the part offensively than he had for the majority of this season. But one thing here was C.J. McCollum, who ends up finishing this game for Washington with 28 points. So led the team, 9 of 17 from the field, 7 of 12 from behind the arc. Like, objectively, good game of basketball, right? Well, C.J. McCollum, in plenty of other ways, did hurt this team tonight. 6 turnovers for McCollum. And I'm at the point where he shouldn't be playing intuitive to what the Wizards want to do. And so the decision for Will Riley to come out of the game with 9 minutes and 27 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, when it was a close game and he had already etched his career high of 15 points, I don't understand the decision. This young talent and try to establish within this team. I just don't really feel like CJ McCollum playing these minutes and shooting as much as he does anything for the team. And I said it on the podcast back on what day was that? Friday? No, Thursday, Abdullah. That put I
Sorry,
out
Ben.
there for a second,
Yeah,
Abdullah.
you're good. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I mean, I don't blame you, bro. Like this Wizard squad, it's the product out there. It's not really helping us, and the Wi-Fi is also not helping us right now. But you were saying, Ben. I mean, CJ McCollum, love that you put up 28 points. Any team that's or any NBA fan that's not a Wizards fan, you see that and you'll be like, oh, that's awesome. CJ balled out. But the one-on-ones, Ben. I mean, it really does hinder the development of a lot of these young guys. And Will Riley, like you mentioned, 15 points tonight. Who I love what I saw from him tonight. And I understand you want to maximize CJ McCollum's trade value, Ben, but I'm at the point right now where I think we know what CJ can do. He's obviously going out there. He's going to get his. He's going to get his 20 to 25 points a game. And I know against Atlanta, he can go. He put 40 up on them not too long ago. But if you really care about this youth movement, you prioritize the young guys over playing guys like CJ McCollum. And don't get me wrong, CJ McCollum is great. He's a great player. But it doesn't make any sense because it goes back to the idea, Ben, that Will Dawkins said, minutes will be, or Coach Brian Kim, which is the Wizards organization in general, saying minutes will be earned, not given. You can't tell me that, and then this is a common thing that we've seen this whole season. And tonight, when Will Riley's having a good game, with a lot of these young guys out with injury, like Alex Starr, like a Bilal Coulibaly, like a Trey Johnson, like a Corey Kispert, and Will Riley gets pulled out when he's having a game like that, it's just inexcusable, Ben. I don't know. Like, it gets frustrating. It gets to a point where Wizards fans are just saying, like, what are we trying to build here? Because we say one thing, but we're doing another.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes the actions just haven't quite reflected what the words are from the organization. Washington outscored Atlanta 38-27. Atlanta outscores Washington 34-23. So good from that standpoint. We know this Wizards team needs to finish very low in terms of the NBA standings to have the best possible opportunity at picking high in this draft, also keeping their first round pick. So I'm fine with that. But then CJ McCollum comes into the game with 9 minutes to go, and he's just scoring pointless buckets for this Wizards team. And I feel like the majority of buckets that he's giving you are just meaningless in terms of team development. The offense, when he's out there on the floor, just appears to be dribble handoff. CJ drives to the basket, either makes a floater, misses, or he takes a step back three-pointer. They don't move the basketball as well when he's on the court. He's not a good defender right now as well. Just the amount of minutes that he's playing for this team and the amount of usage that you're also seeing from him offensively, I just don't feel like it's actually helpful for this Wizards team, and I wish a change was made in that department. And I know maybe second half of the season you either see him traded or bought out. In the most ideal scenario is the trade, obviously, but it's not even necessary to have him out there scoring 25 to 30 points a night to showcase what he can do. He's a 14-year NBA veteran that's been consistently scoring 20 a game his entire career. He doesn't need to be out there playing 36 minutes for your team. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Will Riley was having a great night, and they took him out. I don't get it.
Yeah, and again, Ben, I thought in that first half it was going to be really ugly through the other quarters because you were down by 20 at one point. But again, shout out to the Wiz kids in the third quarter making it really close. Justin Champagnie, Ben, I mean, the guy played 32 minutes tonight. You see what happens when he plays. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 stocks, 3 blocks included. I mean, again, a lot of Wizards fans talk about how when you give this kid minutes, or Josh Hart, he goes out there and produces, and I just love what JC does on the floor. And he had a tough assignment guarding Jalen Johnson. I mean, the Wizards did the best he could, but he is so freaking talented. And that's another guy, Ben. I hate mentioning it because, again, it's like it's in the past. It's a sunk cost. But the Wizards passed up on Jalen Johnson out of Duke in 2021, and he's a baller. And this Hawks team in general, they don't have Porzingis. They don't have Trae Young, but they realize that they have to go out there and still not lose. And you lost in embarrassing fashion to this Wizards squad. And tonight, and I understand you don't have Chris Middleton also. You don't have a lot of these guys who are your main guys here in DC, but you love the fight within that third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, the Hawks just pulling away and just not being able to close out defenders. Again, you give up 131, Ben. On average, you're giving up 130 a game. So I don't know, like, when it comes to obviously it was a good tank job if that's the word you want to describe this game, but it would have been much better if we saw Will Riley play down the stretch, and that just really wasn't the case. AJ Johnson got in the game with 2 minutes. That was cool. But I don't know where you go from here. And you have the Cavs in a week, so the Wizards will be off for a couple of days. And that's going to be a tough game because last time Cleveland played in Capital One, we all saw what happened.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Wizards have lost to the Cavaliers, by the way, 13 times in a row that they've played, which is an insane stat I found in the game notes packet today. Good job, AB, holding it down when my internet craps out here at Capital One Arena.
No, you're good.
I see a lot of the comments already coming in about the lineups and how each lineup with different guys out there, different combinations is bad. But the bottom line with the Wizards team and the way it's constructed, the majority of lineups out there are not going to be good. I just think I'm the most upset right now with Riley coming out of that game when he was showing you some poise in that third quarter. A big reason why they went on that run in the third was because of Will Riley. He had a couple really good sequences. I think back to one where he takes Jalen Johnson off the dribble, goes behind the back for a really nifty scoop layup, and then another time where he gets into the lane and gets 2 feet in there, goes up for the layup as well. Will Riley showcased some flashes that we didn't even see in the career high he had a couple nights ago where he had 13 points. I think Riley's going to continue to develop his game as the season goes along. I'm happy that he's out there getting minutes for this team, but for him to come out of the game and not come back in until there was a minute 30 left and they were already down by 15, it just kind of sours this ethical tank loss that you have here, AB.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into this guy as well, Tristan Vucevic. Season high, Ben, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, no Alex Sarr. Marvin Bagley only played 19 minutes, so TV, that nice mid-range fadeaway shot, you love to see it. And Bub having his best game of his season so far. I think right now, from tonight, you saw how many players were out, and Bub Carrington realized that his stock is, or at least Wizards fans realized that his stock is very low. And then this is a game where you can go out there and try to change the narrative of you having a sophomore slump. But yeah, Ben, this is a game where you lose by 15. You love the fight in that third quarter, like I mentioned, but I just don't know. Like, I always go back to the fact that if you lose, at least there will be a silver line to the fact that some of the young guys will play and look good down the stretch, and that's what Will Riley was doing. He was going out there, he was hooping, but not taking him out of the game. I don't like the decision, and I know a lot of people are questioning it, and they're at the point where it's just like, dang.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, this is a shorter edition, a little bit of bonus content for you here on Locked On Wizards. Your favorite segment, post-game, it's your chance to let it all out. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. The receiver gets into a hot, defense tightens up, momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump in the moment. Live spreads and money line adjust instantly. Player props update as you guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more, and it keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Well, AB, the silver lining is I don't think the comments will be as bad as they were on Thursday after the Wizards lost by 45, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of negative ones, so it's your time. You steal the show. It's time to let it all out. Your favorite post-game segment here on the Locked On Wizards podcast.
That's probably the best post-game segment of the whole Locked On network. Thank you, Chuck Best 3780. Shout out to you, liking, commenting, and subscribing to the Locked On Wizards channel. Wow, a lot of exclamation points. Now that was a real tank job. To remove Will and Bub minus 22 back in was diabolical. Yeah, we don't get it. We're hoping to hear some answers from Coach Brian Keefe. It was funny, Ben, or not funny, but it was just a little sad that we saw Coach Brian Keefe after the game talking about how we took a step back. This isn't what and he just looked defeated after that Celtics loss. You lose by 45 points. It just doesn't look like a year 3 rebuild team. Mr. Bond V2 says, when Will Riley, Vooch, Keyshawn, Brand were there, they were cooking. Then the coach subbed them out. Malachi Branham did some nice things. It was nice to see that. Keyshawn George tonight, he didn't score until late in the game, but 15 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. We just love what Keyshawn can do. Chuck also says, release Chris Middleton now. He is not needed. Buy him out. Let Cam, Will, and AJ have those minutes. By the way, how many minutes did Ken Whitmore play tonight? He played a total, or did he even?
He used a DMP, Abdullah.
But he wasn't hurt, though, right?
So I wanted to bring this up, and I'll bring it up right now. Cam Whitmore's a DMP, and I think everyone will obviously go crazy to the fact because Cam Whitmore not checking into the game would be ridiculous in a normal sense. He was questionable for this game with an illness. He was upgraded to available, but I think the reason for that is likely because they kind of just needed bodies. You're out there with no Bilal, no Sarr, no Trey Johnson, no Corey Kispert. Vukcevic was questionable before the game as well. We'll get the answer post-game from Brian Keefe. I'd have to imagine the illness is part of it. If it's not, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, that, especially not playing him, and if he was healthy, that's very, very questionable. Mr. Bond V2 also says CJ only helps himself out and not make anyone else better. Sit him out. I see where you're coming there. I see what you're trying to say with that point. That was crazy work. The coach doesn't get it. Dumb coach. A lot of people are questioning Coach Brian Keefe, and that's pretty much what we've been doing this whole season when it comes to his rotations and the whole idea of minutes should be earned, not given. That just really hasn't been the case, unfortunately. This was supposed to be Riley's night, and the coach did not play him more. Career night. Yeah, I love what we see from Will Riley. Bub ain't it, y'all. I can't see it at all. I think, and this was one of Bub's good games. I know he's had a series of very underwhelming performances, but tonight with 14 points, 9 assists, I mean, that's almost a double-double. You want to see that from the year 2 kid out of Pitt. All that talk about earning your minutes is all a lie. Will has earned minutes. Champagne earned minutes. Watkins earned minutes. Cam earned minutes. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Young M1L says, you ain't lying about Bub. Chuck also says, Bub Carrington has not earned a moment on the floor this season. Mr. Bomb V2 says, Bub is good if you set him up. When he handles the ball, he gets rattled and he makes bad decisions. I'll tell you one thing again. Ben mentioned it tonight, but 6 turnovers by McCollum. I understand. 5 from Keyshawn, I understand he's a young guy, but 6 from a veteran, a 10-plus year veteran. That's just very, very unfortunate. WizKid Forever says, much better play tonight. I think CJ is just out there to score the ball and keep it close. Way too much one-on-one from him. I also saw too much ball watching and no one going after the rebounds. Again, Ben, tonight, getting killed in the paint early on, but rebound-wise, Atlanta Hawks out-rebounded you 45-26, if I'm reading this right. Hopefully I am. The steal. I mean, Atlanta was just going out there and they were hooping. They realized that they didn't want to lose to this Hawks team or this Wizards team again, so I got to give them props. I don't know why we changed the lineup at the start of the 4th to bring CJ and take out Will Riley. CJ was passing the ball like he was the only player on the court, SMH. A lot of CJ talk here, man. Locked on Law, there we go. If you're blaming Bub for this loss, you know nothing about basketball and you've been blocked. Have a nice life. Well, there's
Locked on Law. Comment how many people you have blocked, because you might have more people blocked than more shots that CJ McCollum has taken on the Wizards this season.
Yeah, 100%. WizKid also says, I think we'll see more lineup changes after the halfway mark. That's what me and Ben are definitely hoping for, because last season we saw how different this team played post-trade deadline. Chuck also says there is no combination of players where Bub can be on the court and they look good. Alexander says, can someone tell me why A.J. Johnson never plays? Locked on Law says, he is awful. Again, you can have your opinion on A.J., but, I mean, the kid's just turned 21 years old. What do you have to lose? I was more upset that he didn't play in that Celtics game because clearly you're injured. You don't have Kispert. You don't have Trey Johnson, Bilal, Alex Sarr. I mean, why not play A.J. Johnson? You're down by 40. It just doesn't make any sense. Joshua Cotton, 5507. I truly want CJ off the team immediately. Oh, boy. I understand it now. Bub Carrington is the key to tanking. They're guaranteed to lose with him. They're guaranteed to lose with him on the court. That's why they're trying to do it. I get it now, SMH. Very, very bad three-point defense. Always 2 steps behind. That's been very apparent for as long as we've been fans here in DC. CJ is out there trying to get us to another first-round pick. He has to prove he can score to get us one. Yeah, I think that's a good point there, Locked on Law, Ben. I love that Law is actually, like, he's not being too negative tonight. He's actually bringing up good points. But CJ McCollum is a guy that you want to net as much draft capital as you can, because this is Will Dawkins, a guy who with Oklahoma City got these vets, maximize their trade value, and then eventually ship them off. So you kind of see the vision there. Chuck also says other teams swing for threes all the dang time. They're letting CJ look good so other teams can get him, I guess. 100%. He did not look better. Stop it, Ben. I'm assuming he's talking about Bub. Don't know. Let me look at.
He's talking about Bub.
Okay, Bub. Okay.
I think he said that after I was talking about Bub. And
there we go. There we go. Here we go. Here's Onion. The the explicit colorful language. This coach. I hate this coach. He's making me not like watching my own team. A lot of emojis. Yeah, I mean, you see the Can't Win More stat line. You see DNP, and you're just like,
this was Onion's worst night. Hey, I hope for the sake of everyone here that it was because of the illness. I really don't think Cam Whitmore would receive a DNP for that reason, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll get that information. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're very much hoping that the illness was in the fact.
Go one more here, Amy.
It's honestly impressive how bad Bub's plus minus is. Yeah, Ben, I don't know. I saw it on social media because I don't even want to. I was about to post it, but I'm just like, that's just crazy. It was like it was like a minus, like it was an insane number. And they talked about how it's like the worst plus minus in the history of NBA. And I'm just like, there's no way it's gotten to that point. I didn't think so. Corey Dantzler 1290 says, let's draft Boozer and sign a point guard in the offseason. What do you think, Ben? That's a nice plan.
I want Boozer. Yeah, like that'd be an excellent option to have alongside Alex Sarr. They're gonna have to upgrade a point guard, whether they do it in the draft or through trade or free agency. It's gonna have to happen. They cannot go into the next season with the point guard situation as is.
I want to say one thing also. Someone on George on X, George Brooks 33, shout out to you. He added us and said, watching the Wizards game on the Hawks broadcast because it's what I get locally. These announcers are dogging us and said a lot of Wizards fans today came disguised as empty seats. First of all, I want to say the fact that they're joning when they lost to this team a couple days ago, or was it a week ago, or however, wherever it was, you lost this team without Keyshawn George. Like, come on, what are we doing there? But again, I understand that not many people are coming to Wiz games, and I don't blame them. The product of the court is just, it's not there. Jesse, shout out to you, Jesse. Jesse Mares 10P says, any news on when Trey Johnson is coming back?
No timetable. We asked Keith in the pregame. No timetable on Alex Sarr as well.
That's very, very unfortunate. Locked on Law also says the entire team is setting an NBA record for defensive rating, but let's blame Bub. I see where you're going there for sure. I mean, you can't blame Bub Carrington for the current state of the Washington Wizards. I still think he's a good young piece of this Wizard squad. He's not having the best sophomore year, but like you mentioned, this team defensively just as a whole, they are not there. They are not there at all. All About Moody 23765 says trade CJ before the year is over. I'll tell you one thing. I know he's going to be gone before the deadline or during the deadline. There's no way he's on this team after the deadline, right, Ben?
Yeah, he better not be. I'll put it at that. He better not be. If he's still on the team, I'll have very serious problems with it. I'll have a lot of questions that I'll have to ask people. But I don't think it'll be the case. All right, let's put up one more AB. I gotta get out of here, dude.
No, you're good. I realized it was a bonus episode. Today's Saturday. Yeah. Thank you guys. 40 y'all in here. Red Wings 10142 says head coach is honestly our biggest need. I'd say point guard, but all right, last one. Bobby Johnson 6407 says, can y'all ask BK why Vuk can't play D in year 3? I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I don't. Guys, again, defensively, you just can't blame one person. Obviously, everyone, in general, we're not that good defensively, and I'm hoping that we don't end up with the worst defensive rating in all of NBA history, because that's just not a good look. Mm-hmm. But, hey, Vuk looked good tonight. JC looked good tonight. Will Riley looked good tonight. I don't know if you guys can hear me right now because my volume might be either really high or really low, so we'll see after. Shout out to you, Ben, being patient. I know you're at the arena. I wasn't at the arena tonight, and honestly, Ben, the drive back or there and back, I just would have been thinking, like, dang, this Wizard squad, man, what we do for them.
Reflect on the exact thing that you just brought up here, AB. I think the internet's cutting out. I don't even know. Everything's a disaster. But
we're out. Out of the Wizards.
This stream wasn't a disaster.